Joining us now all the way from Los Angeles in the United States of America is a good friend of ours and a huge fan of the NFL, Chinasa Ibonye. Thank you for coming through, Chinasa. It's good to see you. But before we jump into this weekend's action, Tyreek Hill, right? His story has been going haywire right now. And I'm sure you saw the pictures as well. Tyreek Hill, I'm talking about Miami Dolphins star who was arrested by the police. First and foremost, what is your impression of what happened?
It's been a hot topic here. You know, even my wife and I were going back and forth about we were on different sides of the fence for this particular one. But yeah, Tyreek Hill had an attitude, but having an attitude is not a crime. You know, he was pissed, he was rude, but that's not a crime. The police overreacted. They definitely overreacted. You have no reason. It's a traffic stop for speeding. You know, you give him his ticket and you go away. You know, you cite him and you go away. There was no need to pull him out of the car, to put your knee in his back, to put him in handcuffs. You know, even threaten his teammates that stopped by to like explain to them that, oh yo, this is what are you doing? This is our guy. You know, apparently there are reports that he even put one of them, Calais Campbell, they put him in handcuffs too. So yeah, the police actually overreacted and. One of the policemen has been put on administrative leave. So Tyreek is calling for his firing.
Well, I'm actually curious. You said you were arguing with Madame Ella. I'm just curious. What was your wife's position? What was she saying?
Well,
yes, I want to know.
I was talking about the fact that the police were wrong, what they were doing. My wife was like, yeah, she knows they were wrong, but he should have behaved better, you know, which is everybody goes back and forth on that. Yeah, he did something wrong, but like I said, being rude is not a crime. Having an attitude is not a crime in a free country, you know. So and he's not a trained policeman. He's not trained to de-escalate situations. There's a police that is being trained to de-escalate situations. So the police should have acted better. You know, if somebody is being rude and being and having an attitude doesn't mean you should now exercise that kind of power over them, which we know you have at that point.
Chinasa. My own advice, you please do not argue with your wife. That's all I'm going to say. Happy wife, happy life. Meanwhile, the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens will be home of to the 2024 NFL season's second edition of Thursday Night Football. Two familiar foes are also going, and division rivals also going head-to-head. The Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills tonight. So that's for you right there in the U.S. The two coming off comeback wins in their season openers, and as both of them are wanting the AFC East crown this season, both teams are also expected to be in this game until the clock runs out. Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen has been cleared for the game due to a left-hand injury concern, which he suffered in week 1. But Chinas, I want your take on this one. Who's winning this one? Is it the Bills or is it Miami Dolphins?
Well, it's good. Like I said, it's a division rival game, so it's going to be very tough. And they're both good teams. But I think I'll lean towards Miami because for some reason, Tua, when it comes to playing at home and playing under the sunshine in Miami and everything, he has an almost impeccable record, you know, getting wins and all that. But anytime he goes to cold weather stadiums, then he always has issues. So yeah, I think Miami will win because Miami, they have a very fast team in terms of their receiving core. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, their running back, Devin Achane. You know, so yeah, they have a very fantastic defense too. So I'm leaning towards Miami. Buffalo, yeah, their main target. They lost a lot of their receivers. Their main receivers after the last season, they lost Stephon Diggs. They lost Gabe Davis. They have a good rookie in Keon Coleman. Josh Allen, of course, is the MVP of that team. He's the main man. He's one of the best players in the league, although for some reason he was voted by players at the start of the season as the most overrated player in the league. I don't know why. I don't think he's overrated, but I think he is good enough, and it's going to be a very exciting game, and I can't wait for that game to start. And of course, I wanted to add one thing. You know, remember last week I told you asked about Nigerians in the league, and I told you that every team basically has a Nigerian. I decided that every Thursday we meet. When the two teams play, I will try and bring out one Nigerian from each team, at least one. Okay. So this for Miami, they have, of course, it's very influential in their team. Emmanuel Ogba, he's a Nigerian. He plays in defense for Miami. Why for For Buffalo, it's a kid they drafted, a deaf one, Ulofo. They drafted him this year. He's a linebacker. I don't know if he will get much playing time, but yeah. So those are the two Nigerians in this particular one. Last week there were 5 Nigerians in Baltimore and 2 in the Chiefs. But as the weeks go by, as the games go on, I'll keep telling you about the Nigerians in every team. Of course, when we preview the games in the NFL.
Okay, well, Chinasa, well, you seem to obviously know much more about American football than any of us here, but let's hope you still know a lot about proper football, real football, because we'll be talking about that and much more after the break. Thank you so much for staying tuned. You're still watching Game On here on News Central TV. I still have Wale Adegun with me in the studio, Onyechi Obaro with me, and of course, Chinasa Ibonye live all the way from Los Angeles. Guys, let's get into football now. And the Nigeria Premier Football League has reminded clubs that all rights contracts must be vetted by the league before they can be executed. And this reminder follows breaches of NPFL marketing codes, such as unauthorized man of the match awards, which they're not pleased with. And Chief Operating Officer David Onwumi has highlighted Rule A7.6 of the NPFL framework and rules, which requires that any contract a club enters into must be approved by the NPFL. Omi also expressed her concerns over unauthorized ambush marketing by unaffiliated brands at match venues, which undermines the league's marketing efforts and sponsorship deals. He urged clubs to strictly adhere to marketing codes to protect the league's integrity and commercial value while acknowledging their efforts to boost revenue. I think this is plain and simple. I mean, yeah, excuse me, the league has sponsors. Somebody just shows up and says, I'm sponsoring man of the match. I mean, you know what? You know, man of the match. I mean, awards. It doesn't make sense, does it?
It doesn't. Yeah, I think I agree with you. But see, the truth of the matter is, some of these arrangements also are not well structured. There are loopholes in there, and that is why a lot of these brands or these so-called whatever are taking advantage of it. I've always raised those concerns as well. I know those that the NPFL is coming for here. I think it's screaming, some of our friends who have also been on this platform a couple. But hey, the truth of the matter is they're also doing this for the growth of the game. So why not go into collaboration?
That's why it lies.
I think it's important that the NPFL also tries to say, hey, okay, how about we come to a table? Let's collaborate, let's work together.
Have a pally.
It's all for the growth of the game. You like it or not, these brands that they've said are ambushing them have taken the league to another level in terms of its packaging, in terms of its branding. Yeah, they've taken the league went into another level on social media because of this so-called man of the match, because of these guys who have packaged highlights. So the league has gone to another level, and the NPFL through its media team have not been able to get to the half of whatever these people have done. So why don't you bring everybody together to a round table? Let's have a discussion. How can we ensure that we can monetize this and everybody benefits? So I think that should be the body language from the NPFL, not trying to sound like they just don't want these guys to. Because see,
that should have been the best way, because the NPFL, I don't think the organizers are doing well enough, because if they're doing well enough, clubs will not go on their own to do these things that they've talked about in the marketing rights. What are they doing? That's the big question. These clubs will have to survive. They have to also generate revenue from themselves. We heard about the 200 million sponsorship deal from Enugu Rangers. NPFL cannot even get that. Okay, look at a particular meeting that the NPFL organizers did attend in Abuja sometime. I think
just like a week
ago. Some of them did not even wear the NPFL jerseys. Some of them had Barcelona jersey, Manchester United jersey.
There we go.
What are you doing to promote the league, to put it out there for people to, for you to make money? Let's have a pally. Come on, be responsible. Have a pally with these clubs so you can get something. I'm hoping that they are not too greedy, looking at what these clubs are getting.
Well, Chinasa, I want to come to you. I mean, out there in the US, you see that, well, there's the MLS and the NFL and even the NBA. You see that they have tremendous amounts of sponsors, but you get the impression that all this is well structured and well organized. Even the private agreements that many of these clubs have with their own sponsors, I've seen so many of them that even during halftime games, you get the impression that this is a well-run, well-structured, well-documented agreement, and it's not anybody crashing the party or ambush marketing like the NPFL are alleging. And you get the impression that we can borrow a leaf from this, learn from this, in order to continue to highlight the progress of the NPFL.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, and with what Wally said. It has to be a collaborative effort because, yeah, you can't just ambush and try and rip off from where you're not sowing. For starters, let me give you a quick example of something that happened here in the US last at the start of this football season. So in the NFL, at the end of the last 2 minutes of every half is called. They have a timeout, and it's called 2 minutes warning. So this year the college in the NCAA college football, they started it, and they called theirs 2 minute timeout because they don't want to clash with the 2 minute warning that is that of the NFL. And for some reason, some commentators calling the college games, they kept calling it 2 minute timeouts, 2 minute warning, 2 minute warning, and there and then, I don't know how they were monitoring. Apparently, people from the NFL got in touch immediately to those commentators, and they said it live on air that, oh, sorry, we've been calling this 2 minute warning. We shouldn't call it 2 minute warning. It's actually 2 minute timeout. So that's about that. That shows you that there are parameters and things in place to make sure that branding is sacrosanct, because that's what happens when it comes to sports. Is a huge market. It's if like here in America, NFL is king in television.
Oh yeah.
Nothing, no programming, nothing on television gets the ratings that the NFL gets. So that is the same. And in a country like Nigeria, where football is supposedly king, there should be a collaborative effort, like I said, like Wale said, because when you bring in what those people are trying to do, how the clubs are trying to source money for themselves, and try to promote their brand and try to make it bigger and all that, the NFL, the NPL should also find a way. The MPFL should find a way to, call those guys. Let's come to a table. Let us agree on terms and conditions and how we're going to go about this. What is the sharing formula and all that? It's something that they can walk about, not always trying to be high-handed about it.
I see what you mean.
Haven't really done anything, to make it a very conducive environment for all parties involved. So yeah, I think coming to the table and having a discussion, a collaborative effort, that's what it should be.
Would be much better. I totally agree. Let's move on to some women's football now. Nigeria's Falconets will look to secure a place in the quarterfinals of the 2024 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup when they take on Japan at the Estadio del Teco in Bogota. The round of 16 encounter will kick off at 8 p.m. local time, which is actually 2 a.m. Nigeria time. That's Friday morning. The Falconets finished second in Group D behind former champions Germany. Christopher Danjuma's side recorded 2 wins and 1 loss, I beg your pardon, from their 3 group games. That game lost to Germany. Nigeria have failed to progress beyond the quarterfinal stage since the 2014 edition, and they're hoping that they can break their duck this time around. Japan are one of the 5 teams to win all 3 of their group phase games. Meanwhile, the young Nadeshiko are also targeting their first title since 2018. Onye, this is your territory. We have a few players here in this particular squad who have tasted senior action. A lot of people have said that this makes the squad stronger. The so-called Agbabolas in the squad bring in a bit of experience, know-how, and ability to play at the highest level. But against Japan is a really good team.
Yes,
really,
indeed,
really good team.
a really good team.
Predominantly drawn from secondary schools.
Yes, you can see that Japan are really intentional when it comes to building football from a very young age. But this team, they're high press. The junior Nadeshikos are a high pressing team. When they started their encounter against New Zealand, I felt, oh my word, 7 goals. They announced themselves with 7 goals against New Zealand. I think the Falconets, Super Falconets, will have to try to dot their I's, cross the T's. The mistakes they made against Germany, who were also high press for them, they shouldn't make that against the young Nadeshikos. They will go all out on them, and they might not even see 1 goal to score. So they have to really be intentional this time. Christopher Danjuma will have to make sure that he executes his game properly against the young Nadeshikos, or else we're not going to even make it to the quarterfinal at all from the round of 16.
Well, there's some matches that were already played today. Let's quickly give you those results right there on your screen. But some other matches will be played later on tonight. Of course, Colombia defeated South Korea 1-0. So Colombia, of course, one of the favorites going into this competition.
Yeah,
of course, their hosts, and one of the best players in the world right now is actually Colombia.
Yes.
Plays for Real Madrid. Everyone is looking forward to
the rise of Colombia in women's football has to be studied.
I totally agree.
It's been a steady organic rise.
And of course, old foes, the North American rivals, Mexico and the United States of America will also fought it out. 2-2 it ended at regulation time. The United States of America edging this one in, after extra time, 3-2 to go through to the next phase. Some games to look forward to coming up. Germany versus Argentina. In any look, if it's German cockroaches versus Argentine cockroaches, it always promises to be good. Whether it's men or women, you can expect a good game. North Korea will take on Austria. France versus the Netherlands, while it's Japan versus Nigeria. Like we mentioned earlier on, we'd like to wish Christopher Danjuma and the Falconets all the very best in their game against Japan. They can do it. Well, we're willing them to do it because we want them to do it. Still talking football on the African continent, CAF President Patrice Motsepe has been bestowed with the honor of Commander of the National Order, the highest honor awarded to an individual by the government of Côte d'Ivoire. The honor was awarded to him at the CAF Coaching Symposium for coaches hosted in Côte d'Ivoire. And after the award, Patrice Motsepe also had quite a little to say, dedicating the award to all the 54 national associations in Africa.
Well, it's a great honor for me, and this award is an award for the 54 nations in Africa. Is on behalf of the hundreds of millions of people on the African continent who love football. And but I think also more importantly, it's less about me as the president of CAF and more about the spirit of commitment, the spirit of people coming together, uniting through football.
Well, that's Patrice Motsepe speaking after his he was bestowed a national honor by the government of Côte d'Ivoire. Some have said it's just big men rewarding their big friends. I don't know what to say.
Ivory Coast had a very good place from the AFCON. Gave him as far, the permanent coaching job as well. And they're also hosting the African Coaches Symposium. And one of the biggest talking points today was saying Austin Eguavoen, Gernot Rohr, and Jose Peseiro was invited.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Peseiro was actually invited to the symposium. 3 of them took a picture and it was like seeing the past, the immediate past, and the present, who is also the past. Okay. That's Eguavoen, all together in the picture, but that was really good to see. Yeah,
okay.
Really see.
Well, congratulations to Patrice Motsepe, who was bestowed an honor by the government of Ivory Coast today. Let's move over to Europe now, and good news for Arsenal fans. We hear that their manager Mikel Arteta has agreed a new 3-year contract with the club, and the Spaniard was set to be out of contract at the end of the season, but is now expected to stay until 2027. The London club have finished second to Manchester City in the Premier League in the past 2 seasons, as the 42-year-old has been in charge. Of course, he won his first trophy, leading Arsenal to an FA Cup final at the end of the 2019-2020 season to claim his first major trophy as a manager. But I think this is just reward for the really good work that he has done. Onye, Arsenal seem to be getting better and better. Could they be third-time lucky this season?
They can be third-time lucky if there's
Manchester City there as well.
The judgment against Manchester City goes
we'll be talking about that in just a few
right way. It can be good for them this season. But Mikel Arteta, for a club that always want to stick with one coach, you can see what they did with Arsene Wenger. I think they will always have hope in Mikel and his building process for Arsenal, the Gunners. But looking ahead of the game, the North London Derby, that's where I'm going to really say I'm hoping that this extension should be worth it from what is going to play out of the game, because he's got a lot of players out injured.
Oh, wow. Okay. Still talking about what you mentioned earlier about Manchester City. Well, the Premier League's long-awaited hearing into Manchester City's 115 alleged charges will begin Monday next week. City have been charged with breaking financial fair play rules over a 9-year period, which started way back in 2009 and went on up until 2018. And during that period, Manchester City, who have denied all the charges against them, won the Premier League title 3 times. According to the Premier League, Man City broke the rules over 9 seasons by allegedly failing to provide accurate financial information. Among the charges against City are also that they did not fully disclose the financial remunerations that were made to one of their managers over a 4-year period. And the suggestion is that there was a secret contract, so one of the managers was getting paid much more than was officially stated. While the whole of the Premier League, the whole of England have been waiting for this particular case, it's finally here. What could possibly happen? What's the worst that could happen to Manchester City?
The worst that could happen is
could they be stripped of the titles?
Stripped of the title, or
be stripped.
being relegated.
2018, 2019, we want it.
Yeah, so
who is we?
Those are the possibilities, but it is still going to take time. I mean, this is going to take months. And remember, whatever the 3-man independent panel decide on, City can still appeal it. So expect this is going to take long. But the good thing is, at least finally, this can start and City can at least start planning for whatever is going to happen. And I think the Premier League are saying, hey, you guys did not disclose true or correct, accurate financial information between 2009 and 2018. They're also suing them for, breach of Premier League sustainability and profitability rules, PSR. Plus also breach of UEFA financial fair play. So it's a long haul.
So we're not expecting it to be resolved anytime soon.
Don't expect it to be resolved anytime soon. Yeah.
Okay. Well, still talking about Manchester, but to the red half of Manchester. This one concerns you, Chinasa. We heard that Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag has dismissed Cristiano Ronaldo's latest criticism and says the outside noise around the club does not bother him. Speaking to former Manchester United teammate Rio Ferdinand on a podcast, Ronaldo said ten Hag had been wrong to say in a pre-season interview in the manager's home country of the Netherlands that the club were a long way away from winning the Premier League for the first time since 2013. Although Ronaldo went on to say he also thought that his old club could not win the championship, he felt as manager ten Hag was sending out the wrong message. When asked about the veteran forward's comments ahead of Saturday's trip to Southampton, ten Hag said, and I quote, "He, that is Ronaldo, is entitled to his own opinion. It's okay. He's in faraway Saudi, far away from Manchester." And after successive defeats by Brighton and Liverpool, United head to Southampton, knowing defeat will condemn them to their worst start since the 1986-1987 season, when Ron Atkinson was sacked and replaced by Sir Alex Ferguson. And we all know how that one panned out. Well, Chinasa, this one's for you. It seems as if there's still some lingering, simmering issues between Ronaldo and ten Hag. You know how he was pushed out when ten Hag came. He said he didn't want him as well. But was he right? Was ten Hag wrong to have said that, to have stated the fact that he doesn't think his team can win?
Well, sometimes I'm kind of confused if ten Hag really understands the position he's in, where he is at, as the manager of Manchester United, and what the expectations are. Sometimes there are things you can say privately and not come out to say publicly because of the statute of the club you're managing. And I think I agree with Ronaldo with what he said. The fact that ten Hag shouldn't come out and say things like that. You should come out and sound upbeat, come out and sound like we might be a ways from the.
Look, Chinasa, he's Dutch. The Dutch are honest people. They don't know how to lie. They just say their mind.
There's something about the Dutch and their being
their
very
openness, their honesty.
We saw it with the former Dutch Manchester United manager Louis van Gaal, and now we're seeing it with Erik ten Hag.
Actually, we'll see it with Arne Slot. A lot of Liverpool fans are saying that he's too open and always saying a lot about his team, that he should really keep it on the low.
So at the end of the day, right now, ten Hag, he knows he's in a hot seat, because I think this particular sitting is going to be he's on trial. So whatever,
I agree.
How it comes out determine what his future will be at Manchester United. Okay.
Well, Chinasa Ibonye, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Los Angeles. Always a pleasure to have you, my friend. He's here every Thursday. You can catch him on the show. Wale Adigun is also a permanent fixture on this show as well. Pretty much furniture. And of course, Onyechi Obaro always coming through occasionally. But when she does, it's always a bright day.
Just call me furniture.
Thank you very much for coming through.